A team of professional cave divers formed an expedition. Prepare for an unprecedented in-depth survey. As the task progresses, an unexpected technical glitch forced them to desperate situation. Every second, all about their courage and preparation. A severe test. This is the grueling and cave diving incident, an exploration of roars and caves. It begins with careful preparation. This is a team of professional cave divers, an elite team. Plan for this secret. Surrey's underwater cave system. Conduct an in-depth survey. 27-year-old diver Eric, still in action on October 14, 2022. They were assigned specific tasks. He is responsible for deploying the stage cylinders at key depths and served as a safety diver for the deep cave team. This diving program will bring team members together, divided into different roles. 2 divers will form a deep diving team. Go deep into the depths of the cave. Hanze collaborates with another diver. Place backup breathing air at 40 meters and 58 meters underwater. Bottle. Establish safe resupply points for in-depth expedition teams. These stages. Gas cylinders for the entire underwater cave. The system provides backup gas in case of emergency. Source roar and cave pose a unique challenge. Its underwater passage extends rapidly downward from the entrance. It requires advanced technology, diving capabilities, and specialized equipment. Caves are made of limestone, forming a complex 3-dimensional labyrinth. Both narrow passages. There is also more room. The visibility of water bodies can suddenly change within minutes, especially when the sediment at the bottom of the cave is disturbed. Morning on the day of diving. The team conducted a standard pre-launch inspection. Each member confirmed the equipment air source and reviewed emergency procedures techniques. Cave diving requires multiple sets of solutions, systematic and detailed alternatives. They were on a closed-cycle respirator. This is an advanced. The device can be absorbed by carbon dioxide in the exhaled breath and precisely replenish oxygen. Realize the recycling of breathing gas. This technology can significantly extend the time spent underwater, but it also requires extremely high operational skills and continuous supervision. Test at 11:12 a.m. Eric contains water. He dived down the guide rope. This is the connection between the entrance and the cave. Deep safety lock indicates the return path. As he goes deeper, the water temperature dropped significantly. Natural light penetrating through the entrance, swiftly swallowed up by darkness, can only rely on powerful diving lights for lighting. After 12 minutes of diving, that is at 11:24, Han reached the 58-meter deep inheritance point and met briefly with a member of his former ancestor. The diver later said, Han was in normal condition at the time. There were no signs of stress or confusion. Han continues his mission, stage cylinder placement at this depth. However, what happened next was unusually sudden. Only 1 minute later, episode 11:25, Han suddenly slammed into his fellow diver 3 and began to swim rapidly upward. This emergency ascent at such depths, extremely dangerous. Han's sudden change in behavior indicates a serious problem. Diver 3 immediately realized the emergency. Then he chased after Han to show his assistance. When he chased 50 meters to a depth of about 165 feet, I saw Han hit the top of the rock wall. At this time, Han Zhang is struggling to cope with the respirator. The problem with circulatory loops. The situation deteriorated rapidly. Divers 3 views provide him with an escape respirator, an emergency separate from the circulatory system, air supply device. But before the other party is fully ready, so Han took out the mouth of his circulatory system, and the valve is not closed. This is a critical mistake, causing water to flow through the respiratory circuit. When Diver 3 tries, insert the escape respirator into the compartment. When moisture is drained from the mouth, Han began to pump violently. The manifestation of tics and oxygen. Toxic seizures are highly consistent. This is a form of high oxygen inhalation while diving. Serious medical emergency caused by partial pressure gas. During the onset of the situation, divers lose consciousness and lose control of their body movements. Extremely dangerous underwater. Diver 3 struggles to stay contained, positioned to prevent choking, while controlling his respirator. But to control a twitch in deep water, divers, and keep yourself safe, almost impossible. Finally, the 2 men sank into the cave, 62 meters deep to the bottom. In the struggle, the sludge is stirred up. Vision deteriorates rapidly. The situation eventually became too dangerous. Diver 3 can no longer see the guide rope. That's the key to getting out of the cave. Keep doing it. Rescuing would mean that both could be lost in the hole, especially in physical exhaustion and gas, under the double pressure of emergency. Therefore, Diver 3 was forced to give up the rescue, start to float. At the same time, as soon as the divers in the deep dive group have surfaced for help, Diver 3 encounters Diver 2 during a decompression stop. The latter attempts to dive to assist. We have the same problem, poor visibility, too far from the guide rope, and the breathing gas used by itself is contained at this depth. Too much oxygen? There is a risk of poisoning. By 11:35, only 23 minutes after the extreme cold entered the water, another team member, Diver 4, dives to a depth of about 18 meters and saw Diver 3 float alone. There is no cold around. This observation confirms a harsh reality. Rescue has become a body recovery mission. The commanders on the ground made it difficult, but the necessary decision: immediately terminate further rescue attempts. Just all divers evacuate safely after completing the necessary decompression stay. 4 p.m. that day. The technical potential of the Missouri Highway Patrol. The water team has arrived. The official launch of professional salvage operations. They ended up in a hole about 61 meters deep. Han was found at the bottom of the cave. The remains of the post-mortem examination provided key clues. Help recover the entire process of the accident. Han's respirator circulatory system was opened. The mouth falls out of the mouth. And his escape. The respirator still has a small amount of gas released in the mouth. He still had breathing gas in his cylinder. It means he didn't die because the gas source ran out. Then the cave. The analysis of diving experts points out that it may lead to sadness. Several key factors in the drama's occurrence. So let's start with this. Han appears to have misjudged that his breathing gas was present. Maximum operating limit at depth. The dilute he used. Release gas and reference gas for circulation system. Lack of sufficiency content. This significantly increases the risk of nitrogen intoxication. It's a state similar to drunkenness. As the depth of the dive increases, the judgment will be reduced. Weak response. In addition, the evidence shows that, at a depth of 58 meters, manually added large amounts of oxygen to the breathing circuit, gas even if it is slightly added. At this depth, the partial pressure of oxygen also increases rapidly, which may trigger the subsequent experience of oxygen toxic seizure. The diving analysis report also states that tolerance to oxygen toxicity varies widely among individuals. Some people can tolerate short periods of high oxygen exposure, while others are even at the extreme. Epilepsy can also occur in small doses. The investigation failed to confirm whether there is still any disclosure of health issues or taking medications that may lower your seizure prognosis. Roar and the cave incident once again highlights the technological cave. Some basic safety principles of diving. A sound gas plan. Strictly adhere to the maximum operating depth for breathing gases. Conservative oxygen storm route limit. These are not just suggestions. It's about life and death. The accident also highlights the fact that in deep waters, the extreme difficulty of conducting underwater rescue, especially when the line of sight is blocked. This is especially true when the wounded lose consciousness. For the cave diving community, Eric Han's death was a wake-up call. His last dive become a profound lesson. Remind people of the ruthlessness and cruelty of underwater caves. Also remind every explorer, only with sufficient training, correctly configure the device. Origin of rigorous management to minimize the risk as much as possible. Those who tried to rescue Han's teammates showed extraordinary courage, but the combination of deep water toxicity and sudden symptoms, ultimately, it created a situation that cannot be undone with all your efforts. And the roar and the current of the cave continue to flow with the memory of this young explorer, and his story will continue to serve as a wake-up call. Those hidden in secret, the underwater realm of the Surrey underworld, both fascinating and deadly.